The 025 fuel line hack. Remove the fuel line from the carburetor. Now turn the saw over and pull that fuel line out from the tank side. This line's got a very tiny hole in it. I could never find it. The saw would never start. So this is what you do to fix this still. Clip off the two ends of the fuel line. Leave the grommet in the middle. Have no idea why Sthil uses a huge grommet to make a little tiny hole, when a little tiny hole in the fuel tank area would have worked, like they do on Johnson Reds. So take a piece of fuel line, cut a point to it, stick it through that fuel grommet that Sthil has. Takes a little work, but you can get it through there. And then pull it out a few inches. Doesn't really matter how much, because we got more fuel line than we need. And clip that little pointed end off so it's nice and square. Now the task is getting that grommet back into the fuel tank to make the seal. A little bit of, not much room there to work with. So shove it back through all the little slots that you can shove it through, because you got to get past that air box before you can get to the fuel tank. Take your time. It's not that easy to do. It's hard to see. Now you get yourself two screwdrivers, because you got to work both edges of the grommet to get it to slip back into the fuel tank. And you have to work between the orange part of the saw and the white part of the saw. And there's about 1/4 inch of space in there. So two skinny screwdrivers. Just keep working it until you get one edge down. There's a little lip on that seal. You got to get the bottom lip underneath the fuel tank, and the top lip has to stay on top of the fuel tank. It's a little tricky to do. Again, you just got to take your time and working a little bit this way, working a little bit that way. Change the angle of things sometimes. Can get frustrating at times, but that's still for you. They want to make sure you have to buy their part to fix their saw. Well, sorry Sthil, here's your hack. Again, take your time. You just got to get one little corner started. Once you get a corner started, it starts to go easy. I got one corner started now, and just got to get the high side down. And if you put too much pressure on it, you jam the grommet right through into the fuel tank again, and you got to start all over. But I think I got it now. Yep. Okay, so pull out the fuel line that's in there. I'm going to put a fuel filter on it. You can't use the one that's Sthil supplied, because it's got a 1/4 inch nipple on it. So get yourself a Johnson Red fuel filter. It's got an 1/8 inch nipple on it. Stick it onto that 1/8 inch fuel line. Shove it back into the gas tank. Go find yourself some gas. Oh no, not quite yet. We still got to hook up the other end of that fuel line to the carburetor. So measure it off, see how much you need to cut off of that fuel line, snip it off. And now here's the hard part again. You got to get that flimsy little fuel line. It's so flexible, and you got to hold it about a 1/4 inch from its end and get it onto that nipple of the carburetor inlet line. And Again, it takes some doing because there's not much room to work with. You got all the throttle and choke mechanism and kill switch levers to contend with. But working a little bit at a time, you get it on there. Want to make sure it's on good because you don't want it falling off. Put some gas in it. Let's start it up. Put the choke lever down. Nope, popped. Alright. Running. POS. Let's try it again. Alright. Sounds like it's all full of fuel now. If you look at this video and you look at the one on the Johnson Red fuel line, you notice I took my hands off the Johnson Red. I'm not going to do that with this one. It's moving all over the table. So that's the fuel line hack for a Sthil 025. It'll work on some of the other Sthils too. See me at johnsonred.ws.